Let's take a moment and have everybody just really briefly introduce yourselves.
I am Steve Purdham. I'm CEO and founder investor in We7. As everybody here, an ad-funded music model. Slightly different. We do downloads and actually we'll graft audio ads onto the front of MP3 files.
Steve Chang. iMeme is a social media network based in the U.S. and we focus on expression and discovery around music and on-demand streaming.
Hi, my name is Antti Erling. I'm a co-founder of Blick, a pan-European free mobile operator for 16 to 24-year-olds, funded completely by advertising.
And last, but certainly not least, our host, our sponsor.
I'm Alan Cleffish from Qtrax. Ted indicated to me that I wouldn't qualify for the panel unless we launched globally, so we decided to do it this morning.
Alan, as you've said, you've launched this morning. I opened the internet. I went to the International Herald Tribune website, and your picture is there today, and I guess it'll be in tomorrow's paper. So,
yeah, look, I think a couple of observations. The first is that we absolutely believe that ad-supported does work. We think in order to call yourself ad-supported, you actually need to be very dedicated to selling ads, have a highly professional ad team. Otherwise, you can call yourself ad-supported, you may not actually get there. But the other thing is that while we believe we are able to, I guess, fulfill the requests of the recording industry in terms of what they want for payment, it always strikes me as a bit of a convoluted argument when the recording industry says, well, we're not sure that the ad-supported model is actually going to work. Well, they're setting the benchmarks as for what needs to be paid, right? Obviously, if indeed it didn't work en masse, those benchmarks would need to be changed. But in fact, we think we can meet exactly what needs to be met in terms of revenue.
what are the economics like? I mean, run us through what makes it work for you now based on the current structure of what you're launching.
I think that if you are clearly going to go with network ads, if you're going to go with low CPMs, you'll never make an ad model work. What it requires is a sales force, in our case led by Lance Ford and Robin Kent, with a lot of experience with advertisers who can actually have, I guess, the sort of high-level intelligent dialogue that creates creative campaigns that have high CPMs. Also in our case, because we're a browser, it allows us a lot of other options, right, including getting a percentage of everything everybody purchases through the browser. So there's quite a lot of tweaking that goes into these models, right? The model is not an easy model to sustain. It requires, I guess, a lot of work and a lot of thinking as to how to get the maximum CPMs, how to have alternative revenues, etc. What happens now is that we begin to build our service. It's certainly had a very auspicious beginning with a huge amount of interest. Our view has been very simple, which is to listen to what the consumer wants. You really need to start with the consumer experience, and that you need to build something which is as good or better than paid services. And that's been our aim. Having said that, our focus is not to cannibalize any paid services. We think that in the same way that LimeWire hasn't taken away from people buying iTunes, neither which should we, right? Our aim is to really kill the illegal services because we hope to eventually beg the question why anybody would use a LimeWire if they can have a superior experience in an ad-supported legal environment.
Steve, you're at the early, not early, but in the middle stages of your licensing process for We7.
Yep.
Colonoscopy or a walk in the park?
Colonoscopy with everything that goes along with it, really, and not with any anaesthetic. It's frightening. It is. I got involved. I'm actually a technologist. I've actually built internet security companies before on a global basis, but I got involved with this idea primarily because it's irrationally seductive. Because what you've got is two worlds which want to come together but don't. We're all pioneers in terms of trying to force together two different worlds, different expectations, and does the free model or the ad support model work at the moment? I didn't answer that. It's probably not. Can it work?
Well, wait. When you say probably not, why not now?
Because at the moment the expectations from the music industry is one thing and the delivery on the ad world is another.
And elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, I think it's primarily economics. The expectations from a record label may be, I get 99 cents, or a track is sold for 99 cents on iTunes, I get X cents from that, I want X cents from that from an ad-supported delivery. And that might not be possible for all ad-supported mechanisms. You know, the stream deliveries are different to download deliveries, where in 2-3 years' time, to a consumer, streaming and downloading will be no difference whatsoever, because at the end of the day, what they want is to listen to the music at that moment in time in the way that they want to do it. My belief in the next 12 months, although ad-funded today is economically not really 100% viable, I feel very, very more than confident that each day that passes from now, the ad-funded model as an additional model to the industry is fairly significant. And it's not one versus the other. You know, it's not paid versus non-paid. It's actually you as a consumer, you want the hairs on the back of your neck to stand up. Either you pay or somebody else pays. And we just have to try and find this slider that allows us to give us different models. And it's not a case of whether it be iMeme or We7 or Blick or whether it be Qtrax. All of us can coexist, because it's the consumer that makes the choice.
You're sort of like living out your life in the blogs as far as the last few months of iMeme. Why don't you tell us what it was like from the inside, getting the deals done?
You know, the music industry is not, in the U.S. at least, has not received any advertising revenue streams really in any significant way. And so it was a totally new concept, whereas other media forms, as some of the people mentioned in the earlier panel, have subsisted and grown off of advertising-supported revenues. The way to approach this is not about monetizing from a wholesale, retail, margin perspective as a product unit, but more as, you know, sites like ours, what we're trying to do is create a great user experience, focus on that, and create and monetize that experience, which happens over time, which happens with lots of color and richness within. It's not a transaction per se. And figure out a way to create a model where you're licensing based upon that so that it makes sense. It's not congruent right now. And I think a lot of our services up here on the stage, we're dealing with that. We're trying to make that work and trying to find some congruency there. So in the last 6 months, we've signed 4 of the major labels as well as most of the indies at this point in North America. Everyone realizes that advertising revenue online is, you know, at least in North America, is a $30 billion market. And the total paid North American music market was, I think, $8 billion. So there's a huge untapped opportunity. So, you know, we're focused on the social networking aspect. We've got 20 million unique users right now. We're the fastest growing social network. So we're really trying to prove this model out as quickly as possible. The labels are looking for a proof point here. Is this a model that can be leveraged across many different website partners, portals, other social networks, other download services? And so I think this year, 2008, all eyes will be on this segment and to see if it really is real.
Great. So Antti, you hear about some of the pain points for the rest of the people up here. So far, to elaborate, you've launched a mobile phone service that's ad-supported, but it's not music-based. It basically provides free phone service to it's 14. What's the correct demographic? I don't want to.
16-24. It's interesting to hear the industry voicing its concerns about its own problems, and then trying to find somebody to pay that. I don't think it actually makes sense to start figuring out this way. I think, first of all, in any of these ad-supported models in any industry, you have to think about the audience first, and the user experience, as we call it in mobile, has to be good. It actually has to be as good or better than in any paid service. That's the only way you can actually deliver an audience. Now, to the advertisers, they're not interested in paying or picking up the bill from the consumers. They're actually interested of reaching that audience in a most efficient way. Now, their brands are there to sell a product or a service. They're not there to support music business. I think in music, there's a great opportunity because music can offer a great profiling mechanism. But I don't think that the starting point can be that, hey, we have a problem and somebody else needs to solve that. I think it's, if you really think about the audience, you deliver them something that is richer or larger than current models, and you then can deliver it in such a way that the advertisers find it as the most efficient way of reaching that target audience. You got the deal.